Start laying down. So come and lay flat down on your backs. So bend your knees, place your feet flat down on the earth. And if you want to, you can bring your feet a little bit wider than hip width and allow your knees to drop in so they touch each other. It just helps you relax the lower body a little bit. And then allow your hands to rest on your belly. So it's up to you whether you want to have your eyes open or whether you want to close your eyes. And start to notice your breath. So noticing the natural rhythm. Noticing the inhale and the expansion. The exhale and the contraction. And develop a very gentle awareness of the spaces between the breath. So at the end of the exhale, there's a tiny pause, a little space as the breath turns around to become the inhale. And at the end of the inhale, there's another tiny space, a little pause as the breath turns around to become the exhale. And resting your attention on those spaces. You're not holding your breath. You're just noticing that point where the breath turns around. The spaciousness, that tiny pause. And also start to notice or start to bring your breath down into your belly. And notice your hands rising and falling as you breathe. Notice the belly expanding as you inhale, and the contraction, the belly falling back towards the spine on the exhale. And then move your hands up your body slightly, resting them on your rib cage. And allow your focus to shift to the expansion and contraction of the rib cage as you breathe. So as you inhale, feeling the ribs moving out towards the sides, spaces between each of the rib bones. And then as you exhale, feeling the ribs coming back together, those spaces closing up. The rib cage contracting. Again, inhaling the expansion and exhaling, noticing the contraction. And then move your hands so they rest around the collarbones. So fingertips on the collarbones, palms on the top of the chest. And then breathe into your chest. Noticing the chest expanding as you inhale. That expansion coming right the way up to your collarbones. And then the contraction as you exhale. And then allow your hands to rest wherever is comfortable. So that could be down by your sides, it could be back on your belly, on your chest, on your rib cage, on your chest, wherever feels comfy for you. Attention still with your breath. Tying those three things together. So breathing down into the belly, expanding into the rib cage, and then expanding the breath right the way up to your collarbones. And then exhaling from the collarbones, rib cage contracts, belly falls back towards the spine. Nice full breath, but with ease. So don't strain here. Just allow the breath to flow. Breathing with that nice full breath. Again, bring your attention to the pauses, the spaces between the breaths, the space at the end of the inhale and at the end of the exhale. So keeping an awareness with your breath. If you've allowed your knees to drop together now, bringing your feet to the hip width apart. Bringing your heels in close to your buttocks. And bringing your feet so they're hip width apart. Hands rest down by your sides if they're not already. And we're going to start just by gently dropping your head from side to side. Allowing the head to very slowly, very gently drop from one side to the other. Notice how the neck feels here. And then gradually make your way so your head comes back to neutral. And tuck the chin into the chest. So leave the back of your head on the earth. And you're just tucking your chin in. So this is one of those really attractive poses that probably gives you about 25 extra chins. It's okay, the only one that can be seen is me. And then relax. And then again, tuck chin, keeping back of the head on the earth. Tucking your chin in, giving yourself as many chins as you can. And release. And then bring your knees into your belly and give yourself a knee hug. You might want to rock from side to side. You might want to be still, whatever works for you. And then bring yourself to stillness and rotate your ankles. Doesn't matter which direction, doesn't matter if they're going in the same direction or different directions. And then rotate the other way. And allow your hands to drop down by your sides again and just bend and straighten your legs a few times. Just straighten your legs up towards the sky and then bend them both. Straighten legs and bend. And then bring your knees back to bent and take both knees around in a circle. So they'll probably be moving. Okay, so everyone's gone for different. Some of you are going in the same direction, some of you are going in opposite directions. That's fine, it doesn't matter. Keep going with what you're doing. And then swap directions. So whichever way you've chosen to go about it, change the direction with your knees. Awesome. And then pop your feet back down onto the earth. Bring your hands so they're flat down on the earth beside you, feet hip width apart, heels in close to your buttocks. You're going to inhale, tuck your tailbone, then lift your spine up off the floor, one vertebrae at a time. And then exhale and lower yourself back down to the earth, one vertebrae at a time. So inhaling to lift. And exhaling to lower. If you want to add your arms into this movement, then please do. Otherwise, just stick with the lifting and lowering. So inhale, lift. Hands come up overhead, backs of the hands down to the earth. And exhale to lower. Hands come back down by your sides. So keep working, keep going with your breath. And if you want to, next time you come up, you can come up and hold. It's fine to do this with arms overhead, but if you would prefer to have them down by your sides, that's also fine. If you'd prefer to stay with the lifting and lowering movement, then absolutely do that too. Bringing your knees in close together, imagining you've got a brick between your knees, make sure they're not dropping out to the side. Keep pushing your hips up towards the sky, chin towards chest. And then from wherever you are now, exhale, lowering everything back down to the earth. And bring your right knee in towards your belly, holding around the top of your right knee. And then bring the left leg out straight in front of you. Flex the left foot so the toes are pointing up towards the sky. And you can use pressure if you like on your knee to pull your right thigh in closer to your body, but just be kind and gentle to your hips here. So don't take it too far if hip isn't happy. So some of you will stay here. Some of you might choose to lift chin and chest up towards your knee. So if you're lifting, try and keep a nice even breath as you do so. And then exhale. Very gently lower down if you're not already down. Bend your left knee and then pop your right ankle over your left knee and allow the right knee to drop out to the side. So you should have your left foot on the floor, right ankle over the top of your left knee. Awesome. So for some of you, that will be enough of a stretch through the hip. Some of you from here might then want to lift the left foot up off the floor. And some of you might want to take it even further still and bring your hands around the back of your left thigh, pulling the thigh in towards you. Breathing into the hip stretch. So as you breathe, seeing if you can find the tension which you're likely to feel in your hip. And each time you breathe, seeing if you can let some of that go. So the exhale is where we release. And then exhale, bring the left foot back down to the earth if it's not already on the earth. Right foot comes down. So you've got both knees bent, feet flat on the floor. And then bring your left knee in towards your belly, holding around the top of your left knee. And then bring your right leg out straight, foot flexed, toes pointing up towards the sky. Adding some pressure to the left leg if you want to pull that left thigh in closer to the body. But again, being kind and gentle to your hip, only taking this as far as feels comfortable. And then if you want to, on an inhale, you can lift your nose up towards your knee. Again, there's no obligation to do this. It's absolutely fine to stay resting on the mat. It's a very hot day today, so sometimes we just don't want to push it too hard, and that's perfectly fine. So if you're lifting on an exhale, gently bring your head and neck, shoulders back to the mat. And then bend your right knee. So your right foot is now flat on the floor. And pop the left ankle over the right knee. So again, for some of you, this might be enough. Some of you might want to lift the right foot up off the floor. And some of you might want to take that further still and bring your hands around your right thigh. Breathing into the stretch. Seeing if you can find some release through the hip joint every time you exhale. Just trying to let go of anywhere where it's holding on. And then popping your right foot back down on the earth. And popping your left foot back down on the earth. And bring your knees back into your belly and allow yourself a knee hug. And then from here, we're going to rock backwards and forwards a few times. And then the last time, probably the third time, rock all the way up to seated. And come and sit in whatever is a comfortable position for you. And we're going to take some rotations with the shoulders. So rotating your shoulders. And the other way. Allow that to relax. Bring one arm across your body. Let's go with right arm across your body. And supporting the crook of your left elbow, shoulder blade down the back, pulling that arm in towards you. And then release. Bring your elbows, cross your elbows, twizzle your hands around each other, bringing your palms together if you can. And then inhale and lift the elbows up, feeling the stretch in the upper back. Exhale, release the hands, bring them behind, clasp your hands, roll your shoulders back, open your chest, pull your hands down towards the earth. And if you want to, you can also start to lift your hands up behind you. Try and keep a nice straight spine here. Exhale to release. And then bring your left hand across your body, support with the right forearm, shoulder blade down the back, pulling the arm in towards you, feeling the stretch through the top of the shoulder. And then bring that back to center, cross the elbows. Twist the arms around each other, bringing palms together if you can, and inhale to lift the hands up, lift the elbows up. exhale to release. Bring the hands out in front, clasp the hands, and then reaching away with the fingertips, so pulling the shoulder blades apart. Trying to breathe into your upper back. Nice straight spine again. Exhale to release. Pop your hands on the earth, then walk your hands gently forward so you come to a forward fold. So only go as far as your back is happy here, and then stop and breathe. Try to keep shoulder blades down your back. And then walk your hands over to your right hand side. So you come so your nose is pretty much over your right knee. And then staying looking over the right knee. On an inhale, walk your hands back up. So you come up looking over your right knee. Bring your left hand then to the outside of your right knee. Bring your right hand behind you and turn to look over your right shoulder. Again, nice and long through the sides of your body. And then inhale and find your way back to center. Again, bringing the hands to the earth and walking the hands very gently forwards to come to a forward fold. As always, being aware of your lower back, breathing into the stretch. And then on an exhale, walking the hands this time across to the left. So you come so you're looking nose roughly over your left knee. And then inhaling to walk the hands back up, still looking over the left knee. So you come up in a twisted position. Bring your right hand to your left knee. Left hand rests gently behind you and turning to look over your left shoulder. And then inhale and come back to center. Find your way over to all fours. So hands planted below your hip, hands below hips, that's not going to work. Hands below shoulders, knees below your hips. And we're going to start with some rotations just of the hips. So taking your hips around in a circle. So it doesn't matter which direction you've chosen to make this movement in for now. We're just taking hips around in a circle. And then changing directions. So whichever way you were moving, moving in the other direction. And bringing that back to neutral. So some cat stretches. So drop the belly and inhale as you look up. And then arch the back and exhale as you look down. So keep the movement going. Work with your breath. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. And then bringing that back to neutral. So we're going to take the right hand and we're going to place the right hand underneath the left, bringing your right shoulder and the right side of your head down towards the mat. So for some of you, you might stay here. Some of you might lift the left hand up off the earth to really start to open through the chest. It's fine to leave your hand down. And then from wherever you are, if you've got your hand lifted, bring it back to the mat. Pushing into the hand to unravel and come back up to all fours. So keeping this nice right angle shape here with your hips, you're going to walk your hands forwards. And so you might then bring the crown of your head to the floor. You might bring your forehead to the earth. Or you might start to be able to bring your chin and your chest down to the earth. Work with your body. There's no prizes for going the furthest. Keeping that nice right angle with your hips. Breathing into the stretch. And then pushing into the hands and walking your hands back to your all fours position. This time you're going to take your left hand and you're going to thread your left hand underneath the right, bringing the left shoulder, the left side of the head down towards the earth. So some of you might leave the right hand planted, that's absolutely fine. Or some of you might lift the right hand up to really open through the chest. Again, work with your body. Exhale, bring your right hand down if it's raised. And then push into your hands, come back to all fours. And start to sit your buttocks back on your heels. Leave your hands out in front. Bring your forehead down to the earth for child's pose. If you want to increase the stretch in your shoulders, then try and leave your buttocks back on your heels and creep your fingertips forwards. So you might find it's quite nice here to bring your knees out to about mat width apart. So you can find your way down between your knees for a wide-legged child. It doesn't matter which version of the pose you choose. Spending a few breaths here. And then very gently coming back up to all fours. So making sure that once again your knees are hip width apart, hands are shoulder width apart. And you're going to bring your right foot to the outside of your right hand. And then bring your right forearm to rest on your right knee. And take some nice big circles then with your left arm. Nice and big. So try to reach away with your elbow as you make these circles. Lovely. And then pop both hands back down onto the earth. And take some rotations with your hips. So these can be as big or as small as you like. And then rotate in the other direction. Bring that back to neutral. And then bring your foot, so your foot is now in between your hands. And we're going to inhale and come up to a high lunge. So hands can be on your hips. You can have cactus arms, or you can bring your hands up overhead, whichever works for you. And from there, you're going to exhale, bring your hands down beside you, lift your toes, straighten your front leg to come to a hamstring stretch. And then inhale, come back to your lunge. And exhale to hamstring stretch. Inhale to lunge. Exhale to hamstring stretch. Bring your hands to the earth this time as you come to hamstring stretch, and we're going to hold here for a few breaths. And then gently come back to one knee and finally back to all fours. Lovely. Okay, so bringing the left foot now to the outside of your left hand. Bringing your left forearm to rest on your left knee. And taking some nice big circles then with your right arm. We're really stretching through the right side of the chest. Reaching away with the elbow. And then pop your hands both back down on the earth and take some rotations with your hip. And change directions, so rotating the other way. Bringing that back to neutral, and then bringing your left foot then now so it's in between your hands. And you're going to inhale, come up to your high lunge. So again, either hands on hips, hands to cactus, or hands up overhead, whichever works for you. And then exhale, bring your hands behind, lift your toes to come to your hamstring stretch. Inhale, hands come back up overhead, back to your lunge. Exhale, hamstring stretch. Inhaling back to your lunge. And exhale, back to hamstring stretch. Placing your hands down on the earth, lifting your toes, and we'll take a few breaths here. So working with your body, I've got particularly long hamstrings. It would be quite unusual to be in the position that I'm in. And from there, coming back to one knee, and then coming back to all fours. And from here, we're just going to swivel ourselves round and come and lay flat down on our backs. So bringing your feet flat down on the earth. Feet are about hip width apart. If you have space, bringing your hands out to a T shape with your palms facing the sky. If you don't have space, cactus arms is fine. If you don't have space for that, then allow your hands just to rest down by your sides. You're going to exhale and drop your knees down to one side. Inhale, lift both knees back to center. And exhale, drop your knees to the other side. And inhale back to center. Keep going. So keep working. Keep the movement flowing gently with your breath. And keep the movement nice and slow and nice and controlled. And if you want to make this a little bit more challenging, then you can lift your feet off the earth so your shins are parallel with the sky, and repeat the movement. So you exhale to lower the knees to one side, inhale to center, and then exhale to the other side. And inhale to center. So work with whichever version of this feels right for you. And as I say, what feels right today isn't necessarily what felt right yesterday, and isn't necessarily what will be right tomorrow. We change constantly. And also bear in mind how warm it is where you are. So the next time you drop your knees to one side, doesn't matter which side, then allow them to rest on the earth. If you want to, you can turn your head to face in the opposite direction to your knees. And as you lay here, try and really let go. So just do a scan of your body and notice any areas where you're holding on. Perhaps where your body's holding on to the earth, perhaps where you've got some tension or some tightness. And let it all go. And also pay attention to your face and your mouth, your forehead and your cheeks. Notice if you're holding on anywhere there. And then pay special attention to the shoulders and the back of your neck. And really let go. So if you have your head twisted to one side, bring it back to center. And then on an inhale, bring your knees back to center. And exhale, drop them to the other side. And then again, if you want to, you can turn your head to face in the opposite direction. And again, really scan your body. Notice where you're perhaps gripping onto the earth. Notice any other areas of tension or of tightness. Pay special attention to your face and your mouth, the back of your neck and your shoulders. And also notice any differences between this side and the last. Bring your head back to center. And then on an inhale, bring your feet back to center. Bring your hands so they rest on your lower belly. Knees are still bent, feet flat down on the earth. You might want to bring your feet now so they're touching each other. You're going to inhale, bring your knees out to the sides as you lift your hands up overhead. And then exhale, bring your knees back together, bring your hands back down to your belly. So inhale, you open the knees, open the hands up overhead. And exhaling, knees come together, hands come back to your belly. And again, keep this going, work with your breath. And again, the slower and the more controlled the movement is here, the harder you're actually working. And then pick one of these movements, so either open or closed, and hold. So if you choose the open movement, then bring the soles of your feet together. It will help the feet stay where they are. And again, just see if you can really let go of all effort, of all holding on. Allow the earth to hold and support you. So if you've chosen to hold the open position, on an exhale, bring your knees back together, bring your hands back down to your belly. And then when you're there, and there's no rush at all to get there, bring your knees into your belly and allow yourself a knee hug. Okay, we're heading towards Shavasana. So you can get cold in Shavasana even on a day like today. So if you want to grab any blankets or any pillows or socks or anything like that, then by all means do grab them. And then allow your legs to come out in front, feet dropping out to the sides. Hands down beside your body, palms open towards the sky. And taking a deep breath in through the nostrils. And then blowing the breath out through the mouth. Twice more. Deep breath in through the nostrils. Blowing it out through the mouth. Last one. Deep breath in through the nostrils. And blowing out through the mouth. Feeling yourself sinking down into the earth. Feeling the earth beneath you like warm, soft clay, moulding to support you, moulding to hold you. Allowing yourself to let go, to be held. Your body sinking effortlessly, held effortlessly by Mother Earth. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Drop your head gently from side to side. And then making sure you've got space around you, bringing your hands overhead and allowing yourself a lovely fingertip to toe tip stretch. And then finding your way to your right hand side to come and rest gently in the recovery position. And finding your way up to a comfortable seat. Bringing hands up overhead in the Prana Mudra. Palms together overhead. To the crown of your head. To your third eye for wisdom and clarity of thought. To your lips and then to your throat for peace and love in all that we say. And to your heart space to love unconditionally. So thank you all for sharing tonight's practice and for the last 5 weeks. I can't believe we've done 5. Namaste.